economic impact of recreational boating in Florida is over $31 billion. Now, what does that mean? I think most people know that's a lot of numbers. But go back to 2018, that's a 53% increase just since 2018. And part of it was, with COVID, people were like, they wanted to do things. And so I think COVID was probably the best thing that ever happened in terms of pushing, not, media is going to say, oh, he said it was good. No. Don't misquote me. But COVID drove people outside more. And so golf did phenomenal. Boating and fishing did phenomenal. And so I think that really helped drive that people wanted to be outdoors and they wanted to do things, especially new people coming to Florida. And I know there were a lot of people that would move here and they're like, okay, I guess I got to start boating. And so they'd buy a boat. Now, some of them didn't know how to operate the boat, which caused some problems. But we kind of, hopefully can figure that out. I know we've worked hard on that. So you've had this massive boom in outdoor recreation. And we've really been at the forefront of that. We are the top boating state. We consistently rank #1 in marine expenditures and boat registrations. We have over 900,000 boat registrations as of 2023, and probably higher now that we do that. And we have over 4 million licensed anglers, and is known as, and of course, you would expect that, being the fishing capital of the world. We've been able to do a lot of really neat things. We did do discounts on sportsman hunting and fishing licenses. We were able to issue more than 75,000 gold sportsman's licenses, which generated $24 million in revenue, even though it was a big discount for the purchaser. We did extend that program to provide even more discounts on several fishing and hunting licenses, including the lifetime licenses. If you want to get out and try your hand at fishing on any of our salt or freshwaters, you can purchase a combined annual fresh and saltwater combo license for just $5. And $5 doesn't buy what it used to buy. So if that's a pretty good deal. We've also solidified our state's reputation for boating and fishing. We want to continue to do that. So if you look at people that are here, our Florida residents, this is an important part of our culture. It's also an important thing that draws people to want to visit the state of Florida. When I became governor, Florida typically would get about 80 to 90 million visitors a year. And we saw that increase a lot over the years. And most recently, we had 142 million visitors to the state of Florida. Now, I view that as something that can help the economy, all this stuff. I also view it, I would rather have them pay the taxes than us pay the taxes. And so, you have an opportunity. People come, they buy things, they pay taxes on all this. And so we have an opportunity to continue to offload tax burden away from Florida residents and towards some of these 142 million visitors. I mean, I think that only makes sense, and we're probably the only state in the country that can get away with that. That's why I've been going after these property taxes so hard, because we can do something about this. People see property taxes go up because their values of their homes. I just saw the Tampa Bay area saw an increase of 23% going up, and it's because the values have gone up. That's true nationwide, but Florida has been even more because there's been a lot of demand. And so people are now having to pay on a home that they bought 10 years ago for a certain amount. Now they're being told it's worth twice that much, and they got to pay more in taxes. Well, how is that good? And then at what point do they stop taxing you? It's like you you engage in transactions, and you pay a tax. Hopefully you don't have to pay any tax, but if you do, you want it to just pay and then not have to deal with it anymore. And yet on these property taxes, it's like you could be a productive citizen 50 years in your home, and they still hit you up for more and more tax. At some point, you either own your property or you don't. And if they can come in and take the property from you because you're not ponying up tax, then you don't really truly have private property. So this property tax issue is a really big deal. I know where I go and talk with folks around the state, this is the one thing. Now, the state doesn't administer that. That's done locally, and you've had local governments, and, some have been more reasonable and more responsible by rolling back rates so that taxpayers are held harmless, but others have not done that. Others have increased millage rates. And for what? Why would we be going after homeowners. So I think it's a really significant issue. We're going to want to continue to do it. But you have all these people that visit, and it used to be they did the analysis when we used to have 80, 85 million visitors. It was about 18 to 20% of the state sales tax revenue came from those visitors. But now that we have 142 million, I think it's at least a quarter of Florida sales tax revenue, and maybe as much as a third. But then you also have to count in snowbirds. We've got people that live here for 3, 4, 5 months a year who are not Florida residents. They're also contributing to be able to do that. So I view that as a potential for us to really deliver relief to Florida homeowners. That'd be the best thing we can do. You know, we can't control at state government the amount of value that your home goes up or not, or how much a home costs. You know, that's a private market. I think there's a lot of distortions in that market. I think the Fed, how they've mishandled interest rates. We can go on and on about that. But the reality is we're limited in what we can do. But the people of Florida, through their Constitution, have the ability to set or not set taxes, right? So you're able to do big-time reforms. So we're teeing that up, certainly for the 26th ballot, and I think this is really, really important. But nevertheless, we have people coming here, and this is a big reason why they're doing it. We have had the biggest tourism year in Florida history. We have secured an all-time record, almost 16% share of the total domestic visitation market for the entire United States of America is just in Florida. Now, you do the math, we got 23 plus million people. The United States as a whole has 330 plus million people. So we're like 6.5%, 7%, and yet we account for more than double our share of the population in terms of the visitation. So that's really, really good. Now, that's all great, and it's all great to say you're doing good stuff, but my view is you know, we always want to do better. And when it comes to our anglers, our boating community, people that really thrive on enjoying all that Florida has to offer, we do get feedback about, hey, what can be done better? So we've done a number of different things, and we've been working very closely with Senator Jay Trumbull over the last many weeks to make sure that the legislation we're going to sign today actually got across the finish line. I want to thank Representative Griffiths for also leading the charge in the House of Representatives to make sure that we're doing what people expect us to do. So there's been a movement for local governments to regulate the type of vessels you are allowed to purchase regarding energy use. Now look, if you want to buy an electric boat, I mean, I don't think you should be prohibited for it, but you certainly shouldn't be required to do that if you want a boat. You should be able to buy traditional vessels. And so the legislation that we're going to sign today, this Boater Freedom Act, is going to make sure that Florida remains the boater capital of the world. We're going to make sure that boaters are able to choose the type of vessel that they want. We're not going to allow local governments to step in and block the ability to purchase and for the businesses to sell vessels based on the source of fuel that those vessels are using. You know, we know a lot of families opt for used vessels, and of course they're going to be gas powered. People want to be able to afford this, and if you impose these draconian restrictions, you're not going to be able to do it. We also want to right a wrong that has happened in terms of how people are approached on the water by law enforcement. Now, current law allows both state and local law enforcement to pull a boater over when no probable cause or suspected violation has occurred, and to conduct inspections. Inspections may include personal property searches, sometimes leading to further law enforcement action beyond merely safety compliance. Now, people have tried to address this in the past. It hasn't really fully worked, but if you think about it, if you're walking down the street, law enforcement can't just go up to you and stop you and search you if there's not a basis to do that. You got to have probable cause to be able to do it. Same thing if they want to go on your property, or they usually would have to have an actual search warrant by a judge that would say probable cause is there. But even in exigent circumstances, they would never be able to just do this without there being a basis to do it. So, but yet on the water, that really isn't the case. And so you've had people. I mean, we had a guy. It made the video went viral. You know, they board his vessel. They have him blow the breathalyzer, 0.0. Didn't have any, wasn't drinking, and there was no basis to do it. There was no activity that was suspicious. There was no safety violations. There was no reckless boating. And it was this whole thing. This guy ends up getting arrested. And I'm just thinking to myself, that is not what